It's a shame that Ben's not here because he's been involved. Who else has been with it involved at all the time?
Brenda.
Sorry.
Justin.
Sorry about that, Brendan. I know you haven't. It's been a long, long process. And I'm just trying to think when are we live streamed, are we?
Yes, we are, Brett. Share it with the world.
So I think when you'd actually know that there were public consultations meeting before the 2016 election, weren't there? Because I went to one and in Kaiwaka. So I went to a meeting before I was even thinking of standing for council, and the regional plan was at public consultation at that stage. So that was sometime earlier in 2016. So it's been a really long process. And for those of you who don't know, my first session of council, I chaired the Marine Working Party, which is trying to get marine reserves, and now we're going to, sign off on 2 of these. So I do want to acknowledge all the staff and the past staff who aren't here, because it's been a fantastically long journey and in the environment court for most of that time. So it's fantastic to see and fantastic to get it to this stage, and really looking forward to getting those provisions in place as soon as possible. So thanks everybody, and really, really keen. I couldn't miss this meeting, could you? It's got to be the best one. So heaps, thank you.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to reiterate, and it's appropriate that Rick raised that too, having been such a part of the history of it, and understanding that we're following through on our legal motions, that this have all gone through the appeals processes, and we have our orders issued by the court. So I'm really looking forward to engaging with the minister on the next steps too. Are there any other councils that would like to make any comments, or Amy?
I guess just reiterating what you guys have already said, really appreciative of the amount of work that staff have put in on this over the years. And I thought I should also mention previous councillor Joss Yeoman, who did a lot of work on this in her time at council. So I know that she'll be very satisfied to see this finally kind of at this point. So yeah, just thanks to all of those that have done the work to get us here, and we look forward to being part of the implementation, moving forward. Yes, kia ora.
Woo.
Well,
Start to echo those comments.
comments. Everybody okay? Well, then
Yeah, very much.
the adoption of the proposed regional plan, the recommendations 1 to 4, all in favour say aye.
2 hands, yeah. Woo.
Okay.
What's that? Only get one. No, don't. Jeff's not here. I'll take it.
we did well. Kaupai. Moving on to 6.2. Okay, so another administrative.
And I'd like to move and congratulate and thank Councillor Stolwick for stepping up to the plate. Thank you very much.
I'll have a second.
Okay, Jack is going to move and Marty is seconding. We're taking all 3 recommendations together. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you so much to
We're
you.
grateful, Rick. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Rick, and thanks Jack for
Very
doing
good,
it
Jack.
thus far.
Okay, 7.1, the health and safety report. Who would I can move the report be received. Who would like to second?
Happy to see.
Amy, thank you. Any discussions?
I've got one little question. I guess it's for Beryl. Working with contractors, is that contractors generally, or is it mainly pest contractors? I'm just wondering if there's any kind of pattern we need to address.
16. Sorry.
Through the chair. It's contractors in general. Throughout the organisation, there needs to be some upskilling and for both our staff and probably also the councillors, just to make sure that, sorry, not the councillors, the contractors, to make sure that we're meeting legislative requirements or just minimising our risk, I guess.
Yeah, I realise it must be difficult because they're not people we can control entirely, because obviously outside people, but do you think that there's is that a problem with their processes generally or our processes? Because that's something we obviously need to address with, the chain of command, the chain of blame in an accident situation includes us, even if it was caused by a contractor. So do we have to address our own processes or do we have to address their processes, or is it a combo?
Through the chair, it's a combination. We definitely need to review our processes, especially when it comes to, especially for the more riskier contract situations that we're actually auditing. We're going out and checking that they're actually putting in place the things that they need to be doing. That aspect of it, because that's not happening as much as what it should be happening.
Because all contractors are supposed to have a health and safety plan, aren't they? So we're auditing those plans, aren't we?
We are,
Yeah.
but it's also making sure that they're in place, and of course not all contractors, especially say in the pest area, a one-man band, they don't want to do it.
Yep.
So we need to support them and getting them up to speed for their own sake. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Any other councillors' questions or comments? Okay, then if we are happy for the report to be received, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, that one is carried. Thank you. And then on to 7.2, Chair's report. I'll move it.
I see.
Thank you, Jack. Jack will second that the report be received. Still working on how it can be more of a strategic reporting, but we'll get there. At the moment, it's just a list. So for the report to be received, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, that's carried. And then over to 7.3, Chief Executive's report to
just one,
council.
two.
Yes, sorry.
Question?
Yeah.
Question regarding your report?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could just expand, very interested just to know the basic theme of the Kiwi Rail hui at Multito.
So I was invited by the landowners. There's a landowners collective.
Yep.
And it's pretty much, so there's a few valleys that go through Multito. The first is Taiketo Road. It's kind of when you cross the railway track and it all becomes Māori land. A Tipene Road is there. So there were 3 families from the Taiketo Valley that were their landowners, one of whom also works for the rail. And then some of the families who live closer to the Multito Marae, and then the Opahi and Pukapu families like the Browns and them were also there. In general, it was a discussion to say that they want to be a collective voice, and then are approaching Ngāti Hine Rūranga to also advocate, for their wishes and their discussions with Kiwi Rail.
Oh, that's cool. Did Kiwi Rail give any indication that how they're going to upgrade the rail through the Opahi swamp?
So Kiwi Rail were not in attendance at the meeting. It was only landowners. Yeah, they'll be.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there are plans, and I'd be happy to share with you, because if we open up the Mid-North Rail, which is one of the discussions, it's regionally significant. And so, yeah, let's keep in touch on that. It was the first time they've had a meeting since COVID.
All good. Thank you, Tui.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll head back on over to 7.3 for the Chief Executive's report, page 70. I'm happy to move the report. Joe will second. Any questions? Rick and then Jack.
Nice, thanks, Bruce. Been down for the pigs, information on the pigs at Waipu. I know exactly who that is, but how much you can do about that. And I haven't got the page number now, but I did ask a question about the Mangawhai sewage treatment. So what's the story?
Specifically, what was your question, Rick?
Just if there's any update on the stuff on it.
Okay, Bruce Chair, Rena Koto, councillors.
Because normally it's clean, I see it.
So Mangawhai wastewater treatment plant at the moment are looking at doing repairs on their storage pond for the irrigation of wastewater.
Yep.
Because it has got a leak, so they've got a plan to dewater it. They're applied for consent for emergency discharge to provide for that. That seems to be progressing quite well. So they're looking at dewatering the pond. In the process, we'll ensure that the environmental impact of that is minimised. There have been, meetings regarding with some of the neighbours about the odour, and they are doing more work on that. They've been monitoring hydrogen sulphide levels and trying to now look at what could be a sort of a potential target level for compliance purposes, which we haven't had to date.
Thank you. That's good. Pass that on.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick. Any other questions? That's it. Over to Jack and then Joe.
I'd just like to record my appreciation for what the Sharp team has achieved over its, was it 3 years or so? I see they've exceeded almost all of their KPIs and done an awful lot of useful work, and a lot of that will obviously be incredibly useful to us as we move forward into our freshwater plan implementation. So well done, everybody. A great result.
Kia ora, Jack. That's all cool. Joe.
Yeah, I can't find the page, I've lost my notes.
Oh.
But I just found it very interesting reading about the work done on highly erodible soils. And I thought that was, that was something we actually need when we're doing our freshwater planning. We actually need that sort of information to come forward to us and maybe expand it a bit, because it's, sounds really good. Thank you.
That's all cool. Kia ora. Just on that, noting that the CE's report is often quite long, is it possible for us to bookmark the subheadings as well in the CE report just to help with
That's good.
navigation? Because often we spend time discussing that.
Yeah. It'd be really good, I think that's what you mean, is if you can just hit in the meeting agenda, you just go to an item and tap it and your screen shows that page.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be so fast for us.
Yeah.
And probably your computers do it one day.
Well, let's make sure we have a session with Councillor Joe and any others to get that working. Okay. So on 7.3, the CE's report, any other questions or comments? John?
Just looking at rainfall figures, extraordinary year we've just had. And I think it's impacting particularly on our dairy farms, and maybe take account of that for that. As they've probably never been through such a wet period from November right through to now. And they've also got the problems of the maize crops that failed and feed running short. So yeah, there's a lot of rain through this region.
Okay, John, do you think there's any ways that we can take action or support? You're just asking us to keep that in mind in our decision making.
I don't think regional council itself has a lot of stage, but others are certainly. But dairy farming in New Zealand at the moment, I think to pay the interest takes 1 1/4 councillors to pay the interest. So dairy farmers are very highly geared compared with others, and it's going to take its toll. Thank you.
Thank you for putting that out, John. We have Rick and then Stuart.
Look, I just want to have a shout out to the Pura, Brendale and High Value area, because 2016 they didn't exist, and there was only 400 hectares in the Maranui Conservation Block predator control, and now it's up to 40,000. So that's an amazing group, and the Conservation Coast Trust for them as well are just fantastic group. So that's don't know what that is in percentages, but it's a big increase anyway.
Good acknowledgement. John?
And I met with Willie Wright, and he was talking about the same thing. He wanted to start up Podo and Tinapai, other areas that be predator free. So it's quite a big movement from other sectors
Good.
and other areas.
Great. That's great. see what we can do to support. Stuart, sorry, circling back to you.
Well, it's just a comment to support too, John, in that if you looked at page 84 of the Chief Executive report, there's two really interesting charts there.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
very long. Your first one is a 75-year chart showing accumulative rainfall and how off the scale we've been. Now, this is not just Northland, this is you can see this for Auckland as well. And I think the second one is over 100-year-old data. And so it just kind of brings to context that what we've had this year is really extraordinary, and that it might help with council when council looking at a lot of those initiatives in terms of looking forward, that to see it in the context that it has been an absolutely extraordinary year.
Good point. Thank you. Points. Thank you, Stuart.
Just to tautaka what Stuart said, it's also, we hammer councils and the territorial bodies for the roads being in such a poor state. So this should be brought to light as well. I know that you can prepare for weather, but there's some times when weather just does its thing.
Okay, if there's no more further questions or comments on the Chief Executive's report, we will go ahead and receive the report. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? It's carried. Thank you. Over to 8.1. Receipt of committee minutes. Again, acknowledging all the work that has been undertaken.
I'll move.
Joe will move. Do we have a seconder? Is it Amy? How technical is it on these guys being at one of these meetings?
No, it's
They're
really
like-
procedural, besides, you're just receiving information. Yeah, thanks for checking.
Just checking. So I was thinking myself, was I at that? Yeah. Okay.
It definitely wasn't.
Just make a comment.
Yes.
Yes, the government has not put out its government policy statement for roading,
Yes.
which is 6 months late, I suppose. So it's, so what we are intending to do on the Transport Committee is actually work out what our requirements are to achieve our core basic maintenance, and then be in the position when the GPS comes out to say, hey, does the GPS allow us to do this? And if it doesn't, submit, be ready, prepared to submit on the basis that this is the gap we're going to have for maintenance. We're not trying to interrogate the GPS for capital projects. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. Please do keep us updated, knowing that moving forward, as you know, these things could confirm that we'll need to give more time to the kaupapa, and thank you for carrying that, those of you that are on this Regional Transport Committee. And the Joint Regional Economic Development Committee, while we're giving little updates, we have the draft to heading our strategy. I haven't had a chance to read it, but it was workshopped, and that'll be another piece of work that we'll be finally getting across the line next couple of months.
Yeah, it's starting to tighten up.
Yeah.
I made the comment that early on it was pretty fluffy. It was starting to develop a profession of
Okay, there's no further comments. We will go ahead and receive these committee minutes. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Those are carried. Thank you. 8.2 with the working party updates. Again, tremendous work that has gone on in the in the previous months. Do we have a mover?
Yeah, happy to move.
Marty, thank you. And seconder, Jack. Any discussions?
Yeah, just a comment, if I may. Happy to move it. Really pleased to see the report that's been put in with Te Timo, Māori and Council Working Party. So it's good and full report. Thanks.
Excellent. Jack and Rick?
I'd just like to comment on the Whangarei Public Transport Working Party, just that, with, WDC is making slow progress on creating the bus lane at Carmo as a trial. And remember, I'll just bring up to date on that. It was due to be done last year, but they got a 1-year extension. It's fully funded by government. They got an extension due to COVID and what have you. So it was supposed to be done by the end of June this year, but they assure us it'll be rolled out during August. So we'll await that eagerly. And just one other further update that I met with Councillor Blackwell and staff, and also the Honourable Shane Retty at the Totara Park Retirement Home on Friday, because they're putting a proposal to get us to alter one of our bus lanes so it goes right past their door. In fact, we're going to probably put in 4 bus stops in order that the nice retired people from the Totara Park Retirement Home and the folks that live up there in the new subdivision have access to bus services. I must confess, it's the first time I've been there. It's massive.
Yes,
I had no idea how big that place is. And they've got about a 4-hectare lake in the middle.
Yeah.
I've flown over it, but I've never actually driven around it. It's so anyway. Our staff assure us that they can get a variation to the terms of contract from the bus company, and of course, it's basically going to be an off-peak service outside of school hours, and with anyone with a gold card, it'll be a free bus. So hopefully it'll be well utilised, because the folks at the home there, they say there's quite a big demand. That's it. Thank you.
Just like to comment. This initiative too came from a young high school student, and it's a really good story. He got out, walked around the area, got a submission together. It's really good initiative by a young fella.
Great to hear, Joe. Rick?
I just wanted to say that it's Otangaroa Marae. Was it?
Mac.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it's our first one for quite a while. So anyway, it was really good going there, and I look forward to seeing others.
Just while we're on that, I'm just wondering if there's any way that we can assist with the actual technical, the camera and stuff, because it was pretty hard to zoom.
Well, that was deliberate, sorry, Jack. We didn't want to listen.
Never lost. Comment. But sometimes, like some of the hui and some of the other any other kind of things that are offsite, sometimes really hard to be able to zoom into. I'm just wondering if there's any, if we have any other capability of actually assisting. I mean, I'm not technical on that.
I think we could check in with the meeting host to see whether any support is required, and then I'll need to check with our IT team to see whether they have the capacity to provide that support as well, and the technology.
I'm pretty sure we do have it. It's just a question of can we deliver it on that day and set it up, or can we load them on the basis that they know how to.
We can follow up on that.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Thank you.
And the Wānanga Wilder. Thank you, Oriel. Please, express all of our thanks to everybody. Amazing. High expectations now. Let's go out to the marae more. Okay. Well, if there's no further on item 8.2, we will receive the working party updates and chair briefings. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Those are carried. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving into business with the public excluded. We have 2 recommendations there. I'm happy to move. We have a second.
We're moving into out of public.
Yeah.
Just before, because we're going to be going off Zoom, aren't we then?
That's great.
So I just want to, can I just sort of general business that just acknowledge this, the Tui, Joe and Oriel who went to the local government conference last week. It's, because we always get snide comments about it being how do they junket? Yeah, junket. And I was exhausted. Hey, like I really find it hard work chatting to people constantly for 5 days.
You're over 8.
One day, a couple of hours is okay, but 5 days in a row is hard yakka. So it was really good, and I think we were well represented on the regional tour, because a lot of councils did not even show. We were well represented. Northland was in the remits. Yep. So we had 3 remits out of 11, and they were Co-chairs was the least well received, and it was commented on by one of the other speakers. I can't remember who that was. So, but there was nobody spoke against it, which was good. The interesting point I found was that after mentioning that remit, some councils just didn't bother to test the legislation. They just co-chaired anyway. So I said, well, we can't get away with that with Chris sitting there. She'll click us out saying you can't do that. So they were just doing it. So people are doing it without checking their or worrying about the legislation. So it's really, so thanks, Amy. It was your remit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was your remit.
Thank you, Amy.
And well received. Really, I think it was, and was commented on a number of times during the next 2 or 3 days. So it was probably the most controversial remit, and certainly the whole,
Progressive, not
Progressive,
controversial,
sorry, progressive.
progressive.
But I can tell you for those, and none of you actually have attended a government conference, there is a new wave out there of youth, of enthusiasm, of bouncy. The new Sam, the new chair, is just, you've got to tie him down, otherwise he's floating in outer space somewhere. He's full on going for it. So it's really, really good to see. It's really good to see that energy and enthusiasm from the young elected members. Young, I mean, under 40 is not young, is it?
Yeah, it is.
So it's good to see them, and it's like a different, it's just a different conference to other conferences. It was buzzy, like it was not just, sit there and the least inspiring. Oh, I'm not going to say the least inspiring because we're on Zoom, but it was really good. So thanks again for supporting us, and I fully recommend that we do 3 councillors to an AGM each time. So not looking at anybody in particular, but Joe and I have been. There you go. So we'll have somebody else next time. Wellington will be good.
Oh, yeah.
Wellington will be fun. And the field trip will be amazing.
Regional
Starting in Napier
Yeah, we'll be in Hawke'sbury.
and cruising down to Wellington. So
Yeah.
go for the rector regional sector tour. Thank you.
It's good. No, I'll just talk of what Rick said and just add the focus of the next,
Oh, that's right.
is going to be regionalism.
Cool.
And the government initiative for councils to actually work proactively about the new pace of local government has been totally embraced at the conference, and we've just got to function as regions, really concentrate on that functionality. And but inspired by that, I sent all councillors an email about body of work I want to see done, so we actually start to get our roading, really perk up on using the same structure we've got now, because it'd just be futile to try to devolve in face of what's coming at us. All good.
Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, and if there's no other general items anyone wanted to speak to, then we'll move ahead into excluding public.
I move we go to second.
Fine. Starting again, Jack will move and Marty will second. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, that's carried.